I've been playing BFBB since I was a young lad. This copy right here was one of the first video games I ever played. Years later, I began to speedrun it, and my entire high school career has been dedicated to this game. To many people's surprise, THQ Nordic released a teaser trailer for the game's inevitable remaster. This caught the eyes of many, and since the teaser was released, many people have speculated of how this game was going to change, how it's going to play, and what's going to get removed. I thought I would talk about what I want to see in BFBB Rehydrated and what I look forward to seeing moving forward. As always, this is my opinion and my opinion only. I played the original BFBB for many hours, and it's still one of my favorite games ever made. That being said, take some of what I say with a grain of salt. Enjoy the video. Robot diversity. BFBB has a bunch of unique robots, however I feel that a hefty majority are underutilized. Take the Kelp Forest for example. People often regard this as the low point of the game, and their least favorite level. It's generally looked at as too dark, especially when playing on the PS2 version of this game, and many people find the puzzles confusing and the slide at the end way too challenging. But my issue with it is the lack of robot diversity. In a world where everything has to be super diverse just to be diverse, this is just the opposite. After seeing Fodders the entire game, here they're just chilling right next to the Tubelets. Why can't there be a G-Love over here, and a Tartar Butt up there, and maybe even a Sleepy Time over here? This is a common theme throughout the game. Enter a level, see a new robot, then forget about most of the other robots except for the little Fodders. At face value, it is a very nitpicky criticism, but I think including the different robots scattered throughout the game would not only raise the challenge in a fair way, but also provide different ways of traveling throughout each level. I think areas like the Krusty Krab nail this, considering how small the area is. Simply putting different robots in different places would make the combat much less tiresome as the game goes on. Again, a small, but in my opinion fair, criticism. Remastering tracks. The soundtrack of this game is absolutely phenomenal. Every level gets its own music, for the most part, and every track fits each area perfectly. The boss fights even get a really grand scale approach when it comes to songs. Many people, including myself, would be perfectly fine with Purple Lamp just simply moving the music from this game and putting it into Rehydrated. This was until April 16th where Purple Lamp released another teaser for the game and we got to hear this. Just that simple chord of notes playing completely changes the song and it sounds excellent. I'm seriously looking forward to hearing all the revamped songs for Rehydrated. Just judging off the Lagoon theme, I can tell we're in for some serious bangers. Fixing levels. Rock Bottom is often regarded as another low point of the game. Usually it's bunched in with Kelp Forest. While it makes a good area for speedrunning, it has some crazy strategies used. Casually, this level is a mess. Easy sequence breaks are found throughout the entire stage, and most of the time, it's not even clear where you're supposed to go. Falling off of certain areas often presents you with invisible checkpoints after falling, meaning you have to get to where you were previously all over again. The sponge-ball challenges here are also a huge hit or miss. Controlling this thing to begin with was pretty shaky, but now you're asking me to cross this path? This is the second level in the whole game where we get to use this thing, and now we have to master it? Also, side note, there should really be more instances of the sponge ball being used. Making control better, of course, but also put it in more stages. It would make traveling levels a little more interesting, and keep in mind it's only found in 2 areas, not including the hub world. Anyways, while the Sleepy Time robot is a really cool enemy, this level as a whole also suffers from the whole lack of diversity thing we discussed earlier. While we have yet to see what this stage is going to look like in Rehydrated, we can assume it will be lit up, with less invisible checkpoints, and maybe even some different robots roaming around. Overall, if any level needed a revamp, it was definitely Rock Bottom. New Game Plus. This next point is coming from a completely biased point of view. Most people know that you only need 75 spatulas to enter the final boss, and you end the game with a minimum of 77. If you decide not to collect all 100 before fighting Robot SpongeBob, you pretty much just have to do the spatulas you decided not to do. Or find the rest of the socks you have to trade with Patrick, and for the most unfortunate, grind for shiny objects. Or just do SBA. I think it would be really cool if Rehydrated had an official New Game Plus mode, where you started from the beginning, but this time you had the cruise missile and the bubble bowl unlocked from the start. And maybe include unlimited shinies and throw in 100 spatulas for a little bonus. And maybe include a speedrunning timer. Just a thought. But seriously, as someone who really likes a good post-game, I think this would benefit the game greatly, making the total lifespan longer and more fun on repeat playthroughs. Making the boss fights less bad. BFBB has some awesome level design, great music, visuals that still hold up even after 17 years, but the one thing they couldn't nail was the boss fights. There's a pretty good reason why speedrunners decide to skip most of them. King Jellyfish, I get it, I totally understand. You have to make him simple because he's the first boss. Alright, I got it, completely understand. Robot Sandy? The only level in the game where the music is completely forgettable, and while the novelty of fighting a giant Sandy is cool, the fight completely drags. By the time we reach Murmelair and have to fight a prawn? Seriously? No Man Ray? Alright. Anyways, it's pretty much just a bubble bowl tutorial. Robot Patrick is the only fight in the game where each time you hit him something changes, at least in the second phase. The third phase is mainly about testing your skill. I think this is the most interesting fight in the whole game. Then we reach the Flying Dutchman. Extremely brain dead easy. There is zero challenge to this fight, and it drags on and on. There's not even a cool Dutchman theme or anything, it's just the regular fighting theme. This fight should have been tough. It's the second to last level in the entire game. I want a cool showdown with the Dutchman. Judging off the footage released by Purple Lamp though, this looks like it's going to be more or less the same thing, unfortunately. And then we have Robot SpongeBob, which is actually a really good final boss. Not having any checkpoints in the final platforming challenge always stuck with me, as it truly challenges everything you've learned throughout the game. So there you go. The game has 6 boss fights and 4 of them suck.
Suspicious piece of mechanical equipment you don't see every day.